Hey folks, Vitamin Death Eye here. You can call me Jake. And earlier today, we just got our eyes on the very first in-game footage of Pokemon Sun and Moon. And apparently, I do reaction videos to Pokemon trailers now. I guess I do that. I didn't realize I did that, but I do that now. Okay. And so it's about 2 minutes. Go watch it if you haven't already. It'll make more sense what I'm saying if you know what I'm talking about. There are 5 things that I want to address in this 2-minute trailer, and I'll try not to make it super long. 5 things: starters, box legendaries, region, engine, and trainers. So, starters, kind of what people always care about. That's, the first Pokemon that you meet on your journey, and everyone wants them to be cute and adorable, and then turn into super badass killing machines. We haven't seen the full evolution spectrum for any of these, so opinions could change. I seem to really like intermediate stages when it comes to starters, so that's weird. So the 3 that we have Rowlet, a grass-flying owl Pokemon, Litten, a fire cat, and Poplio, who I keep forgetting the name of, and I have to look at my notes over here, who is a sea lion, a water-type sea lion. And so I ran a Twitter poll asking my Twitter followers which did they think I liked the most, and I think about 50% people said Rowlet, something like 20% said Litten, and like 30% said Poplio, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact numbers. And they got the first one right. Rowlet is my favorite, which isn't to say that I love him, or them, I should say. Love it. I don't know. I don't love Rowlet, but I think it's the best of the 3. It's got kind of a dorky charm to it. Green is my favorite color. It has a bow tie, that's pretty nice, although it's a little late for the 11th Doctor trend. What I don't really care for is it feels really stiff. Its wings are kind of stuck up against itself, and it doesn't have much in the way of legs, so it's kind of a rounded rectangle silhouette. And this is my issue with a lot of Pokemon, and this dates back to like 3rd gen, if not earlier, but Pokemon that are just really stiff and don't seem like they would move very well. They don't look good in motion. So Pokemon like Salamence or Dialga and Rowlet. I cannot imagine Rowlet flying, even though it has wings, and I've seen fan art of it, and I still can't really imagine it. Fan art moves really quickly, by the way. So maybe when it evolves, it'll get a little more dynamic and a little more interesting in terms of its shape, but I'm not a huge fan of it, and that combined with something I'll complain about a little bit later with the engine, X and Y battles felt really, really stale, and what we've seen from footage of Sun and Moon, battles don't look any more dynamic than that, so I'm worried that that kind of stiff shape won't come across very well. Litten would be my second favorite, but it's just kind of bland. It's a cat with fire for whiskers and some weird like red markings on its forehead. I don't know why. Guess I felt like the design didn't have enough going on. It's an inoffensive design, but there's not a whole lot going on. It's a pretty standard cat, just with some different colors. And I mean, in a certain sense, cool, it doesn't feel over-designed, except it's got that junk on its forehead. Why does it need the junk on its forehead? I feel like I'd like it a lot more if it didn't have the junk on its forehead. Yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes. I'm not sure if it'll do a Fennekin kind of thing, where the fire hair grows way bigger as it evolves. If it turns into a Mega Alakazam kind of style with a major mustache, I'd be okay with that. But we'll see how that goes. And last is Poplio. Poplio is kind of the underdog from what I've seen of a lot of people's reactions. It just looks just really dorky. It looks really goofy. I feel like I'd like it a lot more if it didn't have like the rounded clown nose. I feel like that disrupts the kind of the curves of its body. Puts a really blunt end to any of the dynamism that its otherwise very nice curved shape kind of gives. It does seem to have the most personality in terms of its concept art so far. It has some concept art of playing with Rowlet in a bubble, and that's neat. And I can definitely foresee Poplio evolving into something I really like. So I'm not going to discount the idea that it might evolve into something really cool, and I just don't like the base form. On the other hand, it's going to be competing with Samurott, which is basically a sea lion already. You know, I'm not a marine biologist. I don't know the difference between a seal and a sea lion and a whatever, but Samurott is pretty cool. So Poplio is going to have to compete with that in its final evolutionary stage. I spent way longer talking about the starters than I intended to. Box Legendaries, they look fine. I'm probably going to be buying Sun to keep my alternating trend that I do. And it's got like a sun lion thing. Its mane is kind of like the rays of the sun. That's a neat image. It's primarily white with some warmer accents. Overall, it looks pretty good. I haven't looked honestly too closely at the Moon Legendary, but one thing that rubs me a little wrong is that in Y, we just had Yveltal or Yveltal, I don't know how to pronounce it. I never actually watched the anime or anything of the X and Y series, so I have no idea. It was like a dark flying type, and now we've got another flying type box legendary for the second version that maybe it's not dark type, but it's dark themed in its coloration, so it feels like, oh, they're kind of doing that again. All right. And I mean, we've barely seen anything of it, and it did make a pretty cool impression in the trailer, but that's just kind of my little concern there, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't nitpick. Region. What we've seen is it's called the Alola region, and it seems to be island-based, so a lot of people are theorizing Alola, Aloha, it's probably Hawaii, which I'd be totally cool with. Hawaii has a lot of pretty neat locales. It's got volcanic region all up in here, but multiple kinds of volcanic regions. You've got like the flowing lava, but you've also got cooled craggy rocks, and you've got explosive volcanic eruptions. You've got all sorts of volcano stuff going on, so you could do a lot of variety with that, and you could do a lot with, I think, elevation, if they choose to make use of the 3D engine. And the fact that it's islands, that makes me think of Hoenn a little bit, in that Hoenn, when you first start out, it's kind of 3 different sections connected by boat, even though there's basically one large landmass plus Dewford. You first have to go from region or area to area to area through boat, and then you get surf, and it opens things up a lot, and you can kind of explore the areas in between. Which, for all the complaining I've done about water in Hoenn, I think that was a neat touch to kind of recontextualize that early section of the game. So if they do something like that, I'd be fine with it. I think that'd be cool. A lot of people have said it's the closest we're going to get to the Orange Islands in an official game, which, fine by me. I'm cool with that. From what you've seen, this kind of goes into the engine discussion. From what I've seen, they seem to be trying to do some creative things with camera angles and using the fixed camera to their advantage to make some nice sights. It's a very nice shot of the main character going through a city. that kind of looks up and you see the cityscape going on, and it looks pretty good. And you've got adjusting camera as I think someone goes up or down a hill. I can't remember. I'm always a little bit cynical and cautious about these kinds of trailers with cool camera angles, because I fully expect like the first maybe 2 towns to have a lot of cool camera angles, and then everything else just be straight standard top down, like a lot of X and Y was. It seems like there's always 1 or 2 really cool moments in a Pokemon game where they're trying to do something creative camera-wise, like Black and White 2. Great little overlook at the beginning of the game when you meet Bianca, and then there's the underwater tunnel, and I can remember nothing else. So, if I actually decide to go whole hog and try out some interesting camera stuff, great. I don't expect it. And this leads into my discussion of the engine. It seems like they're using a modified version or an updated version of the X and Y engine. Battles look very similar. Overworld traversal looked very similar. I have complained a lot on Twitter and on AskFM about the XY engine and how its frame rate sucks a lot of the time, and it can't go 3D a lot of the time, and when you turn on the 3D in the places it's available, the frame rate tanks, and it's just, gosh, it's really takes away from the experience. I don't know if a younger me would have complained about this, but older me who plays on PC and tries to get 60 FPS on most games, this really, really bothered me about X and Y, and it wasn't adjusted or fixed or updated at all for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire had a frame rate drop in a scripted cutscene, the opening cutscene. The very first cutscene of the game, where the developers, are in control of everything. They had a frame rate drop. It's like, come on, guys. You can do better than that. And I'm pretty sure I could be going crazy. I'm pretty sure I saw a frame rate drop when the Moon Box Legendary was unveiled. Like they showed a cutscene and it looked like the frame rate dropped a little. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but that worries me. Also, X and Y battles were just so boring to watch after the Black and White battles that had animated sprites and camera moving all over the place. You know, it could be distracting, but it was still way more interesting to look at. I have a lot of complaints about the X and Y generation, but hopefully they'll take this opportunity to update the engine, make it stronger, do something a little more creative and interesting to look at. Because when you've been playing Pokemon for over 20 years, and this is the 20th anniversary, I guess, you need something a little fresh. Last but not least, the freshest thing, the most important thing. It looks like the player characters had a couple of different outfits in the teaser trailer, which indicates to me and a lot of people maybe trainer customization is back from X and Y. And that, honestly, was my favorite feature from a Pokemon game. Probably since Black and White 1, if you consider a plot that doesn't suck to be a feature. It's just, I don't know, I love playing dress-up in video games. It's a quarter of the reason I play Dark Souls. But I really missed that in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so I'm really hoping they bring it back. And if it is indeed in a Hawaii analog, having a bunch of variety in, like, tropical, high-temperature outfits, I think could be a lot of fun. So, that's my hope. It is confirmed that you can have different skin colors and different hair colors, which is good. I'm hoping for some extra hairstyles, but honestly, I will never be satisfied with the level of customization on a Pokemon trainer because I will always want more. So, that's the glimmer of hope. I may be kind of about the starters, and I'm being okay about the box legendaries, and like alright about the region, and the about the engine. Trainer customization, hella good. Anyway, those are my impressions of a 2-minute trailer. This is now top 15 minutes. I feel like I'm game explain or something. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the comments that I've made, so that we can increase the number of comments down there, which increases the likelihood that this will be found on a search algorithm. And that's the only reason